the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in the binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
In order to be who we are, we human beings remain committed to and within the being of language, and can never step out of it and look at it from somewhere else. Thus we always see the nature of language only to the extent to which language itself has us in view, has appropriated us to itself. That we cannot know the nature of language, know it according to the traditional concept of knowledge defined in terms of cognition as representation, is not a defect, however, but rather an advantage by which we are favored with a special realm, that realm where we, who are needed and used to speak language, dwell as mortals. Martin Heidegger, On the Way to Language. Martin Heidegger was a German philosopher whose work profoundly influenced 20th-century continental philosophy, moving from an existential analysis of human existence Dasein in being and time to a later focus on the history of being. For Heidegger, language is not merely a tool for communication or a system studied by linguistics, but rather the house of being where being discloses itself to humans, meaning our very understanding of reality is fundamentally shaped and revealed through language. He challenged traditional linguistic views that treat language as a neutral instrument, arguing instead that language speaks through us, bringing forth meaning and unconcealment. Martin Heidegger was born on September 26, 1889, in Meßkirch, a small, conservative, and predominantly Catholic rural town in the Grand Duchy of Baden, Germany. His father, Friedrich Heidegger, was a master cooper and the sexton of the local St. Martin's Church, while his mother, Johanna Kempf, also hailed from the region. Raised in humble but respectable circumstances, young Martin was immersed in the deeply religious and traditional culture of the Black Forest. This early environment, with its strong Catholic faith, close-knit community, and a profound connection to nature and rural life, would profoundly shape his philosophical outlook, fostering a lifelong suspicion of modernity and a deep appreciation for rootedness and authenticity. Heidegger's intellectual gifts were apparent from a young age, earning him religious scholarships that allowed him to pursue his secondary education. He attended boarding school in Constance and later high school in Freiburg, initially with the intention of training for the priesthood. During this period, he was exposed to both scholastic philosophy, particularly Thomas Aquinas and John Duns Scotus, and modern philosophical thought, which began to challenge his purely theological aspirations. In 1909, he briefly entered a Jesuit novitiate but was discharged after a few weeks due to alleged heart trouble, though some speculate it may have been a recognition of his burgeoning independent philosophical spirit. He then enrolled at the University of Freiburg to study theology and philosophy. His intellectual crisis surrounding his priestly training led him to shift his focus primarily to philosophy and the natural sciences by 1911. At Freiburg, he became a student of Heinrich Rickert, a prominent neo-Kantian, and later, Edmund Husserl, the founder of phenomenology. Under Husserl's guidance, Heidegger completed his doctoral dissertation in 1913 on psychologism and his habilitation thesis, the qualification for university teaching, in 1915 on John Duns Scotus. Despite his initial immersion in Catholic intellectual traditions, Heidegger's study of Protestant theologians like Martin Luther led to a significant spiritual turning point. By 1916, he had decided to break with his Roman Catholic background, a decision solidified by his marriage to Elfriede Petri, a Protestant, in 1917. His early academic career was interrupted by World War I, during which he served in non-combat roles, primarily in postal and meteorological duties due to his health. Upon his discharge in 1918, he returned to Freiburg as an assistant to Husserl, embarking on the intellectual journey that would eventually culminate in his groundbreaking work, Being and Time. During this formative period in Freiburg, he attracted a circle of brilliant students, including Hannah Arendt, Karl Lowit, and Hans-Georg Gadamer, whose attendance at his captivating lectures further cemented his growing reputation as a transformative figure in German philosophy. One of the most significant works, though not published until 1989, long after his death, is Beitrag zur Philosophie vom Erinnernis, Contributions to Philosophy from Ernährung, composed between 1936 and 1938. Many scholars consider this work to be the true, albeit delayed, successor to Being and Time, providing a more explicit and systematic articulation of the question of being that was left largely implicit in his earlier work. In the Beitrag, Heidegger delves deeper into the concept of Erinnernis, event of appropriation or Ernährung, which becomes central to his understanding of how being discloses itself. This work represents a crucial transition from his earlier existential analytic of Dasein to a more historical and even mystical engagement with the history of being. Beyond the Beitrag, Heidegger's subsequent thought unfolded in various directions, often exploring themes that were nascent in Being and Time but developed with greater emphasis. His lectures on Nietzsche from 1936 to 1940, though published much later, represent a profound engagement with Western metaphysics and its culmination in Nietzsche's philosophy of the will to power. Other key works from his later period include essays such as The Origin of the Work of Art 1935, which explores the revealing power of art, and Letter on Humanism 1946, a crucial text clarifying his relationship to existentialism and reaffirming the priority of the question of being over any anthropocentric focus. He also intensely engaged with the question of technology, notably in the Question Concerning Technology 1949, where he analyzed modern technology not merely as a set of tools but as a fundamental and framing gestal that shapes our understanding of reality. Heidegger's collection of essays and lectures, On the Way to Language, largely originating from the 1950s, directly addresses the profound question of how we might genuinely approach and understand the very essence of language, particularly in light of its historical subjugation to the dictates of Western metaphysics. This work constitutes a pivotal stage in his later Turn or Care, where his philosophical inquiry shifts even more intensely from an analysis of human existence Dasein to the intricate, foundational relationship between being and language itself. His endeavor here is not to treat language as a mere tool or an object for linguistic or philosophical study, rather, he seeks to think from language, allowing language to disclose its own inherent nature. A central theme explored in On the Way to Language is the famous phrase, "Language is the house of being." This is far more than a simple metaphor, it signifies that being, which is the fundamental disclosedness of reality, reveals and makes itself accessible to humans precisely through language. Our very understanding of what is fundamentally shaped and constituted by the linguistic structures and possibilities available to us. Heidegger moves beyond instrumental views of language, where it is seen as merely a means for communication or expression, to conceive of language as saying sagen. This saying is not merely human utterance, it is a primordial showing, a revealing that allows beings to appear as what they are. This saying is intrinsically linked to Arrhenius' event of appropriation or enowning, the pivotal concept of his later philosophy, where being and human existence mutually belong to each other in the event of unconcealment. The collection often begins with a poignant dialogue on language between Heidegger and a Japanese friend, which illuminates the profound challenges and inherent limitations in translating core concepts between distinct languages and cultures. This dialogue underscores the deep, often untranslatable, rootedness of thought in specific linguistic traditions and demonstrates how language profoundly shapes our very perception of reality, suggesting that different languages open up different worlds of meaning. His later lectures and writings, such as Building Dwelling Thinking 1951, further explored these ideas, emphasizing the importance of dwelling authentically and responsibly in the world. He also continued his profound analyses of poets like Hölderlin, viewing poetry as a crucial avenue for the unconcealment of being, offering a counterpoint to the technological domination of reality. Throughout these later years, Heidegger remained committed to the history of being, continually tracing how being has revealed and concealed itself throughout Western thought, and how humanity's understanding of its own place in the world is fundamentally shaped by these disclosures. His ultimate aim was to awaken a different way of thinking that could move beyond the limitations of metaphysics and the technological age, allowing for a more open and receptive relationship to being itself. What is called thinking a work that grapples with the very nature of thought. He also revisited and expanded upon earlier lecture series and essays, such as those concerning the poetry of Friedrich Hölderlin, eventually gathered in elucidations of Hölderlin's poetry. His exploration of the relationship between identity and difference found expression in the work Identitat und Differenz. Furthermore, his profound reflections on language are evident in On the Way to Language, a collection of essays and lectures from the 1950s. One of his most widely discussed later essays, The Question Concerning Technology, from 1953, examines how modern technology shapes our understanding of reality and our relationship to being. Beyond these, the Zolikon seminars offer fascinating insights into his discussions with Swiss psychiatrists, and, most controversially, the ongoing publication of his Black Notebooks, which span from the 1930s to the 1960s, has revealed previously unknown dimensions of his thinking, including deeply problematic reflections on world Judaism, prompting widespread re-evaluation of his philosophy in light of his Nazi affiliations. Martin Heidegger died of natural causes in his sleep at the age of 86. He passed away on May 26, 1976, in Freiburg, Germany. He had reportedly been in good health and even suspected his end was near in the year prior. Speaking is known as the articulated vocalization of thought by means of the organs of speech. But speaking is at the same time also listening. It is the custom to put speaking and listening in opposition. One man speaks, the other listens. But listening accompanies and surrounds not only speaking such as takes place in conversation. The simultaneousness of speaking and listening has a larger meaning. Speaking is of itself a listening. Speaking is listening to the language which we speak. Thus, it is a listening not while but before we are speaking. This listening to language also comes before all other kinds of listening that we know, in a most inconspicuous manner. We do not merely speak the language we speak by way of it. We can do so solely because we always have already listened to the language. What do we hear there? We hear language speaking. Martin Heidegger, On the Way to Language. Adorno, Theodore W. 1973. The Jargon of Authenticity. Translated by Knut Tarnowski and Frederick Will. Northwestern University Press. Alfieri, Francesco 2015. The Presence of Duns Scotus in the Thought of Edith Stein, The Question of Individuality. Springer. ISBN 978-3319156620. Altman, William H. F. 2012. Martin Heidegger and the First World War, Being and Time as Funeral Oration. Lexington Books. ISBN 978-0739171684. Anderson, Mark M. April 1, 1991. The Impossibility of Poetry, Celan and Heidegger in France. New German Critique 53, 3-18. doi 10.2307 488241. ISSN 0094-033X. Jaster 488241. Carmen, Taylor 2003. Heidegger's Analytic, Interpretation, Discourse, and Authenticity in Being and Time. Cambridge University Press. ISBN 9781139441995. Kamen, Alexander, Sabachinsky, Adam January 30, 2014. Es ist wieder da. Die Zeit. Archived from the original on May 6, 2015. Retrieved April 14, 2015. Cavell, Stanley 1979. The World Viewed, Reflections on the Ontology of Film, Enlarged Edition. Harvard University Press. ISBN 978-0674961968. Dahlstrom, D.A. 2004. Ontology. New Catholic Encyclopedia. Gale. Archived from the original on January 29, 2021. Retrieved December 25, 2020. Davies, Paul. April 11, 2017. Martin Heidegger 1889-1976. Archived from the original on January 26, 2021. Retrieved October 9, 2020. Dustel, Robert J. 1993. Time and Phenomenology in Husserl and Heidegger. In Charles Gignan ed. The Cambridge Companion to Heidegger. Cambridge University Press. Pages 141-69. ISBN 0-521-38597-0.
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark, unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No light, no frame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just the beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Pure and raw.
Play.